It's that time again.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Hey, welcome to the Courtside Podcast. I'm your host, Wayno. Apologies, guys. No big, drawn-out intro tonight. I'm a little bit under the weather and sick, so my voice and my lungs just can't hack it. Of course, I'm joined, as always, by the People's Champ, Vinrock. Vince, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back, but Jesus Christ, you are always sick. Move to Victoria, mate. Toughen up a bit.
Come off it. And we're joined by the host that rounds out the trio, Sydney's second richest man, Stu Benson.
Do I have to say hey-o as well?
You don't have to say hey-o. That's all I had. That's all I had left in the tank.
How are we, gentlemen? Marvellous.
I am so glad the playoffs here because other than that Timberwolves-Denver game, the last 10 games of the season were a little bit of a grind.
Yeah, did anybody watch the live NBA draft tiebreaker split?
Heck no.
Wow.
I watched
that was riveting television.
I bet. Why did they need to televise that, but they couldn't televise the coin toss All-Star break? I don't get
Didn't
it.
they?
No, they didn't. Remember? It was behind closed doors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So they could, they could make the drawing of ping pong balls by Kiki Vandeweghe really riveting television. My God, I will never watch that again. Lesson learned.
Tonight is all about the playoffs. Due to scheduling issues, we have seen the first game of every series, but we're all sticking to our picks. Let's jump now to the first matchup. The number one seed Toronto Raptors up against the Wizards. Of course, we saw Toronto take game one. My initial thoughts on this game, or I suppose this series, is Toronto has turned a corner as far as, we spoke about them earlier in the year and maybe it being a little bit a muchness with this squad, do well through the regular season but maybe bomb out. But I've kind of come to the conclusion that maybe you need those playoff experiences, maybe you need those bomb outs. It just I feel like this year heading into it, Lowry has a bit of egg on his face from the past couple of years and his poor performances. The team's essentially the same, the bench is a lot better, but I feel like maybe they've sort of turned a corner.
Can I just say, Kyle Lowry has done nothing to ease my concerns about him going missing. He's got plenty of yolk dripping out the side of his mouth because 11 points. This is why he scares me in the playoffs.
But he was active in that game one.
I couldn't care if he was active. I just want to see big games. He's your Eastern Conference Chris Paul, isn't he? He is. I don't trust him in the playoffs. But I'll tell you what, Ibaka, happy with his more of his rebounding effort than he's scoring 23. I'm still not sold on this team. I do think they'll get past the Wiz, but I don't know, man. I just got this feeling I don't trust them. I think they're going to falter at some stage. Well, I like him. I'd be curious to go back and see what I thought about them earlier in the season. I've always been a fan of this incarnation of the roster, and I like the fact that it's more or less the same, but guys who have had an opportunity to get a bit of time under their belt and a full season with Ibaka, and they're all healthy. On the flip side, credit to Bradley Beal, played the full 82 games this season, which is a testament to what was a knock on him as somebody who was oft injured. I still don't know who the alpha is between him and John Wall, and I can't see this being much of a series. I know we're going to give our predictions shortly, but yeah, not really impressed with what I saw today out of the Wizards.
I really like the aggressiveness of Valanciunas in that game one. Really took it hard at the rim. Almost looked like at times that Gortat wasn't even standing in front of him. For me, the Wiz, I don't know if it's like the long layoff from John Wall. Because at times, I think it was early in that third quarter, he really took over for a portion there. But I just kind of feel like this Wizards team, this is it for them. If they don't do anything they've shown me nothing all year, really. If they don't do anything this series, this playoff run, I can't see this team being held together much longer. Clearly moves have to be made. We talked about Marcin Gortat being, unhappy with the situation and him, a little bit of conflict between him and John Wall. This has got to be their last, I suppose, go around, right?
Look,
I think the broom that the Raptors are about to give them will give them a good opportunity to sweep the house in the off-season.
I don't see that Wall-Beal marriage lasting for too much longer either. I just got a funny feeling Beal's going to want out sooner or later.
Oh, but aren't they
the time frame?
Aren't they the best backcourt in the league, Vince?
Well, I don't think they're better than Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart. They're up there.
Jesus.
Yeah, Andre Ingram. Don't throw Ingram shade.
Never.
Well, let's go with predictions, guys. Who wins the series? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Raptors.
Raptors.
Wow. Nearly on time.
There's the Victorian delay.
Did you mean on 3 or after 3? The next series, 4 seed Cleveland play the 5th seed Indiana Pacers. I'm just going to open up with a full credit to Stu Benson, who at the start of the season made the prediction to our mockery, Vince, that the Pacers would make the playoffs. I tell you what, I quickly changed my tune about mid-season with this squad, and they walk away with a pretty convincing win against the Cavaliers.
When I saw the score, very disappointed in the Cavs. I thought the Cavs would easily take game 1. LeBron James, what more does he have to do? Seriously. I mean, to get 7 points out of George Hill, I look at this roster and go, how do they lose this game? I don't know. I think I'm expecting too much from this Cavs roster. But Kevin Love, 8 shots when I look at this box score. Jeff Green, none for 7. Jeff Green, why are you even starting?
Yeah.
And you've got Larry Nance Jr.
I mean, on the bright side, J.R. Smith showed a bit of life finally.
Oh, about time, yeah.
Kevin Love could have scored more for sure, but he was rebounding the ball.
Look, wrapped with the 17 points, but if this Cavs team is going to take this series, I'm preaching to the choir here, but James, Love, Hood, even Clarkson, they've got to score double figures. You guys watched it. You tell me what you guys saw. Because
after your statement at the start of the year, Stu, hit about All-Star Weekend, I went, holy shit, Stu is right. This team is exactly that, a team. Not only do they play for each other, not only are they, have some good young athletic pieces, some upcoming talent, but, they're well coached. They're very well coached and very well drilled. And we saw the press conference of Oladipo. They're playing for each other, this squad, which is fantastic. I think I said just after All-Star Weekend that Cleveland didn't want a piece of this Indiana team if the matchups come playoff time. Mm-hmm. These guys are balling out. Not only that, Vince, like I said, Lance Stevenson is playing happy. He's playing ball. He's back home. Man, if he gets if he gets in his grill, everyone's referring to, take LeBron off this team and they don't even make the playoffs. I could maybe understand this Cleveland team beating this Indy team if they had their current roster at the start of the year. But I think there's a lot to be said for vets on the squad. They do have a lot of young, unexperienced pieces. And essentially, look at those players they brought in. They were players that those other teams were willing to let go. And they don't have playoff experience, and this is all new to them, and it's not their fault at all. But, even if LeBron manages to drag this Cleveland team out of this series, how tired is he going to be for round 2?
Going by his past season history, he's not going to be very tired at all.
I don't know, man.
The guy's a machine.
It's going to take he played fantastic today. You can't fault LeBron, but I don't know. This Indy team, very impressed with him. Very impressed.
Is it true? I don't know if I've heard this. I've read this a fair bit on Twitter lately that the Cavs aren't even really practicing as much as they were.
They haven't had a coach for weeks. They haven't had a coach for weeks.
Dude, they've had a coach.
Have they though?
They've had a coach. Whoever was. Yes, they have. Whoever was in charge. Surely they're running practices, but it's all over Twitter that they just have not been practicing. That's terrible.
Yeah, I've actually heard that a couple of teams have dropped down. I think the Spurs are another team that I've heard have dropped down their training. I don't know what the deal is with that, if that's just a longevity thing for a long season or what the deal is there. But LeBron played good. I don't think the box score really says how well I thought Kevin Love played. I just keep watching him just thinking he's wasted on that team. I had a conversation with a friend today. He's wasted on that team. I think it's done. He got his chip. It was a different team, a different time, in a different league, and he was useful in that offense. I'd love to see Love shipped off at the end of this season.
Go back to Mini.
Maybe traded. Sorry?
So go back to Mini.
Well, I don't know, man. Maybe trade it for some draft picks and help what is going to have to be a rebuild. Wayne, you mentioned, a lack of experience. This is with the exception of LeBron and Tristan Thompson's dick on the bench. There's
Ice cold,
dude. Tristan Thompson's dick's got a lot of experience. There's not a lot on this roster, and man, it showed today. And if they get a win or two, it's purely off the back of LeBron or Kevin Love having a big game. If Indy get another one in Cleveland, it's over. It won't even get to 5 or 6.
I think the super impressive thing was they blew them out by 20-something at one stage.
Yeah, it must have been close.
They were prepared for Cleveland to make a run back, as they knew they would. But just the composure by this Indiana squad, they let them have this run, and then they put the brakes back down on the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they're just I don't know, they're just really solid. Like they're pretty strong at every position. I don't know. I just think they're a matchup. Not only, I called it for the Cavs, and I said, like, if all the teams that Cleveland did not want to play in the first round, it was going to be the Pacers. But I think if they get through, they're still going to provide that problem that they're young, they're athletic, they're fast, they run, they're in it for each other, and they're actually pretty damn good at every spot. So, I don't know. Yeah, we'll hit our predictions and see what happens.
Okay, guys. Predictions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Cavs in 7.
Cavs in 7, Vince.
I'll goes to game 7.
Interesting. I don't think they sweep, but I think Indy pulls out this series.
No, I still believe in LeBron and the Cavs.
Wow.
They can get past Indy.
Okay, interesting. Well, we move to the 3rd seed. Philadelphia 76ers take on the 6th seed, the Miami Heat. And, wow.
Just goes to show you don't need a lot of playoff experience, do you?
Not when you're that talented.
But what did we say when they got Bellinelli and Ilyasova?
Yeah.
They can have these games or they can win you a playoff game.
Oh, my God. Okay, I read, just before we jump into this, I read the other day, I wish I would have saved it, damn it. I read this article, which was basically a shit on Philly that they weren't going to win the series because the starters didn't have any playoff experience. And I was just, that was the whole basis for their article. I'm going to find it because I'm going to hit them up on Twitter maybe and send them some egg for their face. But it's like, but what about
so Nick Wright's writing material?
Yeah, right. I know, man. But what about all this vet presence off the bench? The guys that have been there, your JJ Redicks, your Marco Bellinelli, who played fantastic. Your Amir Johnson, all these guys, plenty of playoff experience. I mean, yeah, you can let your starters with all the talent, shine, but they're being guided on the back end of this by all these seasoned vets that Philly's brought in. I mean, they're perfectly prepared for the playoffs right now.
They were like a cat with a mouse in the first half. They weren't taking the Heat seriously, and once they decided to, it wasn't even close.
On form, this team could clearly go to the NBA Finals on form alone. They are just playing confident, inspired basketball, and it's fun to watch.
It's a massive X factor confidence and believing that when that ball leaves your hand, it's going in. And a big part of that is Ben Simmons. The way that those guys catch that ball in that space, be it Saric, be it Ilyasova, be it Bellinelli, be it Redick, be it Covington, like these guys are just getting put into spots where you can see that they've got this slight back pedal or they've got the hand raised for the follow-through. Like they're ready for a post-shot celebration mid-release because this guy is running this offense like a friggin' marionette puppet. It's incredible to watch at his height. He is just it's incredible.
It's like everyone else is playing in slow motion at stages. Like it really is.
It's not as flashy, but it's like watching magic. It's really weird to see a guy that big as an actual pure point, not a gimmicky Giannis point, a actual pure point guard.
That two-handed baseline dunk he put on Olynyk was just amazing.
Yeah,
ridiculous. Just the change of direction.
Olynyk was the shining light for the Heat.
Oh, mate, but that's the thing. If he's your top scorer, you're in trouble. The problem watching that first game one, I was just like, the problem with this Miami squad is they have no anchor. Olynyk's playing great, but he's not that guy. He really is not. And the guy that is supposed to be the anchor, Wade's aged now, he's good for his minutes, but the guy who's supposed to be their anchor, was an absolute no-show. He should have dominated with no Embiid even playing. What the hell is going on with Whiteside?
Well, he complained about not playing in the fourth, I think it was, in the fourth quarters. And you can just tell with Hassan Whiteside just the way he is. If he's not happy, he's not playing well. That's what I see with this guy. And you tell me Pat Riley's going to put up with that crap?
He's in so much trouble because even if they do go, you know what, let's pump him some minutes. That game one was perfect for no Embiid because if anyone who watched the regular season games with Philly versus Miami, Embiid made Whiteside look like a dummy. Honestly, he just made him look standstill at times. And he's in a world of trouble if Embiid comes back well rested. I mean, it's just not working out.
He's not the centre for a lineup to play against, Ilyasova, Dario Saric, and Ben Simmons because they're going to run, and not only that, they're not going to be in the key. None of them, but the three of them are going to be out on the perimeter, and that nullifies the whole point of having Whiteside. So Whiteside actually wants someone like Embiid on the court, or Amir Johnson to be on the court for him to be relevant because he can either defend somebody in the key or he can try and bully somebody in the key. But once Amir's rested and only playing certain minutes strategically, and then you're running with a big three of the three that I mentioned, it absolutely makes Olynyk your best big because he's versatile and can be rangy, whereas Whiteside becomes completely redundant, and he will be for the rest of this series. Brett Brown is all over it. There is no way Whiteside is a factor. The Heat need to get more out of Goran Dragic if they're going to have any chance of winning a game or two.
Before we move on to predictions, big shout out to our good friend, courtside listener, Wonga. Massive Miami fan, mate. I hope they get a game at least. This is not looking pretty. It's not the game one you wanted.
His prediction of 4-4-4 isn't going to work.
It fell apart pretty quick. Sorry, brother. All right, guys. On three. Let's get our predictions. 1, 2, 3. Philly. That was not in time. We've gotten worse.
I was gonna wait because I figured that Vince was gonna say Philly in 5 or something.
All right, I will. Philly in 4.
Well, let's move to the final team of the Eastern Conference, and that is the 2nd seed Boston Celtics taking on the 7th seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. Ooh. Guys, I'll let you guys open with this one.
Yeah, Benson, open up.
All right. Well, the heart of Boston. I mean, one of my good friends, courtside follower down the Facebook page, Jeff Orton, who I've known since childhood, was only a few rows back watching this at the TD Waterhouse Centre and said it was incredible. He said that Vince's boy Rozier was incredible, just really talented to watch in person. Also, Jaylen Brown was just incredible. He said Tatum really was probably the cream of the crop. But I don't know, man. I think, Boston went to overtime. That obviously shows that it was a close game. I think it's going to be a very close series. This could potentially go to 7. Interesting matchups and a very kind of quiet game from Eric Bledsoe. And I don't think that he'll have those back-to-back. So I love the heart of Boston. Great that they could get the win at home. They deserved it. But I think this one's got a long way to go.
For me, Chris Middleton is the big X factor for the Bucks. As good as Giannis is, when Chris Middleton has games like this, they usually win. I know it didn't happen today, but he's been on fire lately. I won't give you my prediction just yet, but if Giannis keeps playing the way he's going, I think the Bucks can snag a couple of wins because their bench is pretty much doing nothing. Although Jabari Parker can bust out for the odd big game, but probably hasn't got the full confidence on that knee yet. But yeah, this is going to be a interesting series.
I mean, this is what Brad Stevens does, right, with rosters like this. Right? This is what he's done for the past, 3 seasons now. Depleted rosters. And it just seems, you ask Boston fan, any player on that roster is a potential superstar, right? Like, it's just crazy what production and, what confidence he gets out of these players. I mean, I don't even think Marcus Smart is even back yet. So, that's another,
no, he's not back yet.
That's another piece headed back. But, man, I'm so glad last show we talked up Rozier because, man, that crossover he had at the top of the key today, oh, my goodness. That kid, he's going to get himself a starting gig one day. He's not that far off off it. Bucks, man, I don't know. I just feel like, look, went to OT today. I'm not saying they won't catch another game, but I just feel like there's so much more firepower still in Milwaukee. I don't know if the whole coaching, I've heard people bring up the point that, Milwaukee don't have a real head coach and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's going to play a factor. I think there's just too much talent on this Milwaukee squad for them to, not let this series go to 7, really. I mean,
it's interesting. I agree that they've got so much talent, and if you look at who's going to give them or who could potentially lead them in scoring on any given night or bust out, you've obviously got Middleton and Giannis. You've also got Bledsoe and you've got Parker, right? So there's 4 guys who could potentially lead you in scoring or be an X factor in one game. But then if you flip the roster and you look at what the Celtics can do, you can get a game from Rozier, from Brown, from Tatum, from Horford, from Morris, from Smart if he's back before the series finished. I think that just gives Boston an edge in terms of, I think their Swiss Army knife's got more utilities at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. This is such a tough series because I just feel like, can Stevens get this out of these players consistently over this series?
I just think Boston's a better team anyway. So yeah, that's the thing I see. But how's Al Horford today? Just drops 24. I mean, he cops a lot from the Boston fans. But
does he really?
He does. Yeah, and if you listen to some other basketball podcasts, they talk about the Boston fans. They just ride him a bit. They think he should be doing more. And I'm like, if you think he should be doing, if you can't see what he gives your team, I'll gladly take him off your hands. I mean, geez, he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so consistent. He just goes out there, does what he does, and he's just so sneakily rangy as well. I mean, if you need a game-winning 3, I'm totally fine with Horford putting it up.
Yeah, me too. He's a winner. He wins. He's a good team man. I just don't get why he cops so much grief from them. But it's all the Italians in Boston, I think.
Oh boy. Let's get predictions on 3.
I can say that because I'm Italian.
Yeah, you can say that.
That's fine. We'll let it pass.
We can't say the I word.
No. No, we cannot. 1, 2, 3. Milwaukee.
Boston
Celtics.
Did you say Milwaukee?
I did.
On my end, I could hear it Milwaukee.
No, I said Milwaukee.
You're both at the same time. I go Milwaukee. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty safe bet.
That's the Eastern Conference done, rather. Let's jump to the Western Conference, guys. And today's game was a bit of a doozy. And I'm talking about the 1st-seeded Houston Rockets versus the 8th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves. I almost did it again. The one thing I took away from this very sloppy game from both sides was that Houston need to concentrate on winning this series first before they start planning for the NBA Finals, because today was a little bit of a shocker.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if Benson watched it, but I'm pretty sure you watched it.
Yeah.
I was keeping an eye on it at work. So when I was looking at work, first thing I do is look at Wiggins, Towns, and not really Butler, but Teague, what they've done.
Yeah.
How does Towns only get 9 shots in 40 minutes?
Okay.
Fill me in.
I mean, this is not really an old issue. He's had games like this before where he hasn't had stuff run for him. But this
is fucking Minnesota's back in the playoffs for the first time in 1,400 years. Where's the fucking...
When you watch it...
I'm taking this game by the fucking horns and I'm scoring 40.
Right. When you watch it, I mean, Capella played pretty good. He got himself into a little bit of early foul trouble, but he played pretty good that first half. All right, so it was more towards the second half, and this is something we've been harping on this Wolves team, and more so on Andrew Wiggins, is that they need to be attacking on this. Regular season's done. Playoff, 7-game series, everything has slowed down. Those guys need to be more aggressive. If Towns isn't getting the ball, he needs to grow some stones and demand the ball in the post.
Absolutely.
Well, there were 1 or 2 occasions where Butler came down, put up a quick shot, didn't let Towns get in a position. But that being said, man, Wiggins needs to stay aggressive. I mean, his free throw shooting is probably the only thing that's holding him off from a total barrage of insults online right now. I just think the aggressiveness is what's going to kill them. They didn't capitalize on Houston's mistakes, and they had plenty of chances to take this game today. The bright spark, I suppose, the shining light from my eyes looking at this series is, a lot of haters are to bite their words there. I think I linked you in a comment I made today on Facebook. because Derrick Rose played outstanding today.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to that peanut on Joey's page on Timberwolves Explosion, and I just want to give Joey a really good shout out because he puts us over like no other every week. So if you are a Timberwolves fan, please check his show out on iTunes, and I think it's shit. I can't remember where else. I'll just go to iTunes,
Stitcher, iTunes.
Yep, this guy, pretty sure if he cuts himself, wolves fall out of his veins because he is as passionate can be, and he's dying, itching for a championship. And he does sprinkle a bit of NBA talk in there too, so check him out. But what were you saying again?
Joey is such a Timberwolves fan that every night he wheezes around his yard just to mark his territory, just like a wolf, just like a real wolf. That's fact. No, I just felt like
don't eat the yellow snow, Joey.
Do not eat the yellow snow. Look, I just felt like Timberwolves, they lacked the concentration, intensity, and for all the criticism I've heard of Coach, all the criticism I heard of Coach Thibs throughout the year from Wolves fans, you can't see me doing the hyphen, but I'm doing it. Was everything that they should have been doing in this game?
I think they're very. I don't know what the defensive rating is. I think they're very lackadaisical defensively.
Yep.
I think they could make up for their deficiencies in that sort of hot potato offense where they don't quite know who's going to be the alpha. They don't quite know who they're going to give the ball to score, and I think they eat up a lot of shot clock sometimes. But that could be nullified, I think, if they were better defensively. And just watching them close out the season and vie for a playoff spot, I thought some of their results were purely not off the lack of a scoring ability, off the back of being able to stop teams from scoring. And when you're playing a team where James Harden is not afraid to shoot it, Gerald Green is not afraid to shoot it, Chris Paul will put 3-pointers on you. Ryan Anderson, I know, with the rolled ankle, but again, a threat. Eric Gordon, a threat. You've got to step up. And that's my concern with this Wolves team. I think between them, there's enough offensive-minded players to score the basket. I don't think they'll have a problem averaging well over 100 points a game. Can they stop their opposition scoring 120?
My goodness, D'Antoni doesn't know how to play defense. It was so funny today to watch PJ Tucker get so frustrated because he's the only one who's playing defense. It was so funny. It was hilarious.
Did you hear D'Antoni's comment the other day?
No, what did he say?
And it was a total cop-out. He's such a pussy.
Oh, yeah, about winning the championship.
What?
Yeah. He said if we don't win it, the champion... Oh, fuck, what did he say, Vince?
Something about it won't define their season if they don't win the championship.
It. Yes, it will.
But, yeah, it will.
He is a pussy, that by God, I can't stand that man.
I'll tell you what, I want a Clint Capella jersey. The way that guy plays in that system and the way that they use him, man, he's the absolute perfect center for that offense. I mean, you can hate the Rockets, you can hate the system, you can hate the offense, the lack of defense, but Clint Capella is a really good fit. He's a lot of fun to watch. I like him. Good motor.
He's a pogo stick, right? He reminds me...
that's all he's there to do. Like, why couldn't that have been Dwight Howard? Why couldn't he have just played with that system and done those things? Like, it's really cool to see the understudy just way better than the mentor.
Let's do this, guys. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Houston.
Rockets.
Timberwolves.
Oh, Vince.
Fuck Mike D'Antoni.
Mate, I have a feeling you would have said Grizzlies if it was different. It is not saying
purely out of hatred and your spiteful cold heart, Vince.
He's an absolute prick of a bloke, and I would love nothing more to see the Timberwolves crush this peanut who's coaching and win 7 games and see the Rockets choke again. And Harden just go missing, and Chris Paul ping a fingernail and not being able to play.
What are you trying to say, man?
Do you know if they're going to get Mbar Mute back before this series is finished?
Oh no, he did his shoulder. I think I got a feeling.
I think he's missing first round.
Okay, because God, what a disappointment to do your shoulder on a garbage minute dunk against Sacramento Kings. I mean, oh man.
Well, let's move to the next matchup. The 4th seed Oklahoma City Thunder versus the 5th seed the Utah Jazz, gentlemen. Man, Utah were in it for a while there. Every time I don't think Paul George is a superstar, he goes and does superstar things. So He was absolutely on fire today. It was a great game. I enjoyed it.
Now, imagine if this was Paul George in a Lakers jersey. The internet would have melted.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's going to happen. Well, next year, enjoy him while you've got him, OKC fans. So I didn't realise OKC had a better record than Utah.
There was like 1 or 2 games
it was the
separating.
They had I think they had the identical record, but they won they had the tiebreaker on them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they? Okay.
Because I was a bit dirty when I realised I was playing at OKC because I had... I'm going to stick with it, but yeah. I'm rapt to see Carmelo Anthony back in the playoffs. I just like him at OKC. Glad he's out of that Knicks...
uniform?
It's just... Yeah, that Knicks fucking rubbish shit they're going through over there.
Did you say shallow cave?
Yeah, that Knicks shallow cave. You get lost in it sometimes, sucked in, and you can't find your way out.
Oh, boy.
But once again, I haven't been able to catch this game, so fill me in, please.
I just watched the condensed highlights of it. It looks like Utah more or less made a bit of a comeback and righted the ship towards the end of the game, but not well enough. It looks like the tail of the tape was PG-13. I mean, a slightly, I guess, more average game from him, and the Jazz win the game. So I don't know if those shots more or less would have been, I think he made 8 3-pointers. So, I mean, I don't know if those 8 threes turned into made 2s for other players or if it was just him taking over. But, that was essentially the difference in the game. I still think that Jazz are a modern, fun version of the Spurs, and for that reason I think they'll work it out, and I think they're coached well enough to work out the Thunder. I just think that their best bet is a longer series.
I have no faith in Coach Donovan making any changes, so he's going to be in real trouble when Snyder does, because what I would give to have Coach Snyder coaching the Grizzlies, I tell you what. Jazz, this is the thing with...
We are going to get complaints that you talk too much Grizzlies.
I didn't just mention the name. The problem with this OKC team is that as long as you can stick with them, but once they get out to that 10-point buffer, you can never really quite get it back. Ingles played okay today. Man, Donovan Mitchell, that kid's amazing, man. I don't know what. He's copping a lot of hate I've seen lately online just because I think the whole rivalry between Simmons and himself for Rookie of the Year, which I just feel like, man, just enjoy this kid playing. He's a rookie and this is his first year. And yeah, okay, he's not doing all the things that Simmons does, but what he is doing is pretty remarkable as well. I mean... He's fantastic on the court.
He is a rookie, but doesn't mean he has to act like a dickhead.
Well, maybe not, but he's a rookie.
Did he hurt his foot today? I heard a whisper he hurt his foot.
Oh yeah, that's right. He said it's nothing. No, he said he said I was just being a baby. I'm fine. So
fair enough. I like it.
Yeah, I was like that's pretty cool. Pretty honest to say. I think this Utah team is a much better team, and I think that's what's going to win this series for them. Okay, so man, I mean, you touched on it, Stu. The amount of threes Paul George put up, I mean, is it going to take that to get him over the line? They did not win by much.
Just a side note on Paul George, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever gets him next year, I don't think he stays at OKC. Whoever gets him is going to get, I'm telling you now, one of, or he will be in the conversation for MVP next season. He had that season of comeback after he snapped his fucking leg in half.
Came off, didn't it?
And everyone's saying, he's dropped his trade value and, he's good but not great. And he's, and he's come into this team and he's fit in absolutely perfectly. He's shown these glimpses, but you can tell watching him, the game is so slow for him now. Like the greats all say, like Kobe says it and Jordan used to say it, and LeBron clearly experiences it where it just slows down and he can see things and he can do things, and he's just playing in the system, and he gave them what he gave them today. I think that's him. I think that he is about to just absolutely blow up in terms of final form. I think he's at that whatever career you do or you're in, you get to a point of mastery where you are at the top of your game. I think whoever gets him next season is going to be underpaying him no matter what they pay him. I think he's going to blow up. I'm going to put it out there on record right now.
No, that's right. 2 things. He's going to be wearing number 3 at Lakers next year. And secondly, I was talking about this the other day with a mate. If George Westbrook and Anthony could have really got it together, maybe it was a little bit of coaching, but I don't mind Billy Donovan. I think he's a good coach. If they would have come out and won 60 games, I think Paul George would look at this team and go, you know what, I'm staying, we're close.
Agree.
Winning less than 50, he's going to look at this team and go, you know what, Melo's 34. I don't really think he enjoys playing with Westbrook that much. I think he looks at our roster, and we all know he wants to come there. I think he looks at our roster and goes, nice, young, I like it, can lead it.
So the thing I took away from today's game, watching Paul George, was, a little bit of a throwback in comparison to his days in Indiana. He looked so fresh on the court. Like, he's not exerting as much energy, being the man in Indy. Not to say he didn't have help, but he didn't have this type of caliber help. And he's playing a full game that looks like on fresh legs. And I mean, that makes a huge difference. That makes a huge difference in your production. That makes a huge decision in your decision-making come the end of games. And he looks great, man. He was absolutely great. But,
Actually, before we give our predictions, what's Paul George's dad like? Because if he's a knob, that means I have to hate Paul George.
Well, his name's Paul George as well, I believe. So
flog. You should. I hate him now.
Paul's
his name's Wayne.
Paul George's dad is named Paul George, and Paul George's mum is Pauletta, and I shit you not.
You're kidding me.
No, I swear, I read it somewhere. I'm 99% sure. If you are listening to the podcast now, double check, jump on.
We don't fact check. Do it for us.
I'm pretty sure Brenton Cunningham was here with a Google machine. Could have done it for us.
Well, that's enough for me to hate Paul George now. So.
All right, let's get predictions. 1, 2, 3.
Jazz.
Utah.
Bumfuck Utah.
Wow, really? All three of us? Wow. For all our big talk.
I believe in the team.
Settle down, Wayne. Jeez.
Well, for all our big talk, with our 10 minutes of talking up Paul George, we all went with Utah. It's hilarious.
Yeah, because he's just putting on an audition for the Lakers. That's why. That's why me and Ben Benson are fucking excited.
Oh,
I
boy.
hope they don't play him a lot of minutes. I mean, fresh next year.
Yeah, we want him fresh.
Okay, let's move along to our next series. It's the 3rd seed Portland Trailblazers versus the 6th seed New Orleans Pelicans. Guys, I'm just going to open up right now. Do you want to pay off your slap bet tonight?
Before you start, I'm under instruction from my lawyer, Steve Rodgers,
You can
to not talk about this series, as I may jeopardise my legal proceedings.
You're such a bitch. You're such a little bitch.
You shall be getting a little letter in the mail very soon.
I ain't getting shit. You need to slap yourself. Oh, my goodness. Are you paying it off tonight?
We don't film it, though, don't we? Don't we have to film it?
We do have to film it, yeah.
I'll fucking film my bare ass.
And if it's not a proper slap you've got to redo it. I'll let the courtside members decide.
I've got unlimited monetary resources. So what I've been doing over the last couple of months is having a guy that we kidnapped genetically altered in plastic surgery, and so he's pretty close to looking just like me. Give it another week or so. Slap the shit out of him.
All right, I'll let the slap slide for tonight.
Benson is so rich he hires a bloke to moan for him. Seriously, crazy.
All right, that aside, Portland Pelicans, let's get into this series. Vince, we actually talked a little bit about playoff Rondo.
We did. I believe I just said playoff Rondo.
Did you? Sorry.
It's so Rondo, isn't it? He's probably the smartest bloke on the court at times.
You know what I really liked is that it was 4th quarter, Portland to make their big charge back because, you can't count them out. Like, Lillard on heart alone could probably win you a game in a series. So you just can't count him out. But there was a foul made. I think Portland was shooting, but Rondo literally grabs everybody and he's just screaming at those guys on the he's just barking at him instructions to the starting lineup. Like, you got to get in position. You got to box out. Like, it was so cool to see. It was like, man, I miss playoff Rondo.
Yeah, he's going to be a great head coach one day, by the way.
Alienate all his team and
he's going to be one of those coaches that lasts minimum 3 years on every team.
The poor bastard that's in his doghouse, though. My God.
But this is why I love Rondo so much as a player. I mean, he doesn't have to score a lot to be the best player on the court.
Dude, he had 17 assists.
Couple that with 8 rebounds.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Is the record still 20 assists? Does Scott Skiles still hold that record?
Skiles' record's 30.
Is it 30?
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Oh,
it's
okay.
definitely more than that, yeah.
Okay, 30. Okay, sweet. was going to say, because that is looking like it's...
Which Lonzo Ball will be breaking that in the near
God,
future.
can you shut up about Lonzo Ball? Fuck.
Fuck you, Wayne. Hey, Mirotic, man. Well, again, you keep a scumbag and you trade Mirotic.
Oh, he fits in so well, this squad. I'm so glad he rebounds as well. Like, his double-doubles have been, like... And then you've got a guy like Drew Holiday. Like, I like this Blazers squad. You know, they played really well this year and, you know, like, they should be credited for the season they have. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, they just don't have the pieces. Do you mean they just do not have the pieces? And you've got Rondo, who could easily flirt with triple-doubles. You've got, oh my God, the big man Anthony Davis, he is a triple-double machine right now. And, you know, his triple-doubles consist of 40-plus points a night. Like, he's just out of control. The only thing stopping him is himself and an injury. Like, that's it. I mean...
You know that the Blazers are going to work it out and beat them, though, right?
No way!
Oh...
No way!
Alpha Rook and amino acids will.
I mean, I love Ed Davis, but he's having fits right now.
So, do you want to double or nothing to slap that or what?
Oh my goodness! Are you serious? You want to slap yourselves twice?
I'd double or nothing to slap bet. That the Pels aren't getting past the first round. Yeah.
Oh, Benson, what are you doing?
Talk some sense to me, Vince. Talk some sense.
It's risky, Benson.
Nah, Stott's a good coach. He's good.
Can you even say that without laughing?
Well, are you going to do it? Double or nothing? Or?
No, I'm not. I will take...
He wants gases.
I would rather the guarantee of you slapping yourself once.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. All right, we're fine. Well, we can...
I'm not the finest lawyer in the land, so don't worry.
Mate, you are slapping yourself. Stupid. I can't wait.
Until I get the okay from my lawyer, and I'm going to drag this through the courts because it's free.
Oh, you are an ass. You're a dick.
You know what? You know what happened? The Blazers weren't prepared, and that's fine. This Pelicans team is a good team. They're in the playoffs, for Christ's sake, and they're in the playoffs after a Boogie Cousins Achilles season-ending injury. They're a bloody good team. I think they're going to work him out. I think the Blazers have got their record and they are where they are because they're a good team, because they're resilient, and because they've got enough firepower. I think they'll be fine. I
don't know. I can't believe hearing this. Like, I love CJ. I love Lillard. I like that combo. But I mean, is Dame going to have to drop 40+ a night to beat this squad? You know, like that's a big ask. I mean, there's so much balance right now on. You know,
I think Papa Giannis is the wild card here for. No, not really. He's just cooking up the Euros after the game. Don't forget about Nurkic, mate. Nurkic can play some serious ball.
He's going to rebound. He's going to have a great game. I think he's going to have a good series. They're going to be fine. The Blazers are going to win.
He has a little bit of trouble keeping up with Davis up and down the court. I'll tell you that right now.
Have we ever seen anything like Anthony Davis? Can you compare him to anyone historically?
At times, he reminds me of like a much, much, much better Marcus Camby, but that's probably as close as...
Well, don't ever say that again.
Well, just again. Oh, mate, come on.
Marcus Camby.
Marcus Camby at least used to run up and down. Like, his defense, weak side help, and he could run the court. I mean, he was fantastic for the Knicks. But Davis is just a totally another level. To answer your question, Stu, no.
Honestly, I just watch him. It just blows my mind. His wingspan, his handles, his speed. I don't even watch anybody else half the time, and I don't know who's setting screens, and it's just amazing to watch. Like, he's a good basketball player.
If I'm Terry Stotts, and thank Christ I'm not, I would be starting Ed Davis over amino acids.
So would I.
Because Ed Davis grabbed 13 rebounds in 19 minutes. You need to keep Mirotic and Davis off the boards as much as you can.
100%.
They just... amino acids is just not...
amino acids.
I just don't like him. Just don't like him. Get on the bench.
No, I agree. Him or Zach Collins. I like Collins.
Well, I wouldn't go with Collins just yet.
I like him.
He's the young...
Right.
See the rookie, Stu?
Second year, I think he is now.
Second year. Okay, yeah.
He's a white guy.
Yeah, he's good, man. I watched him as well. I don't mind him. I thought it was his rookie, that's all.
No, he's a rookie. Yeah, he's a rookie.
Oh, he is he? Okay.
Because he, yeah, that's right, because Portland fans weren't too happy with him at the start of the year, but he's sort of earned their trust, I suppose, as the seasons progressed and played quite well. He had a bit of a stinker for, I think, the first 10, 12 games, but let rookie be rookies.
How's Myers Leonard travelling?
Well, he's travelling with a team, so that's something.
Definitely travelling.
Oh, dear.
He's still there.
I hope Mirotic grows his beard back. Looks weird. Doesn't really have a neck. Yeah, some of those people where they have a beard and they shave it. Yeah, oh, that's why you have it.
Well, let's get the predictions. 1, 2, 3.
Blazers.
Pelicans. Come on, boys.
Of course, you.
Come on. I don't even need to back him anymore. I've already won the slap bet. Jeez, come on.
Yeah, you won the battle. You won't win the war.
I'll win the war. All right. Speaking of the war, it's not even a war.
We're going to talk about the war now.
There's a few going on. Which one are we talking about?
The 2 seed Golden State Warriors versus the 7th seed San Antonio Spurs. I just want to start by talking about this series and saying how lackluster it is and how disappointing as a fan to know that we're not even getting the best of these two squads on the court in a 7-game series.
Can I just say, just call the league office and say we forfeit. We're going home. We're going to rest our old legs. We'll be back next year. Thanks for the opportunity, but we're done. Do not even bother going back to Golden State. Just give it up.
They could have given their fucking spot to Denver. That would have been the nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Fucking oath. That's what they should have done. Now we've got to put up with this. I'm sorry. I know you want to do this 1, 2, 3 thing.
Nope, it's fine.
This is going to be the biggest, most epic sweep and fall of a great franchise that you'll ever see.
Yeah, they don't deserve this sweep, but they're about to get one.
I think I read today Kawhi's officially out for the playoffs. Like, tell us something we fucking don't know.
What?
Right. Spoiler alert for game 2. Sorry, guys. No more Kawhi. I mean, fuck, man. Even the disdain in Popovich's... Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about too. Popovich's voice about the whole Kawhi when asked about yesterday was... Like, you can tell he's just fucking over it. I think he says stuff yeah, like... You know, it is shit that he's fucking bailed on this team. I mean, I like him as a player, but, man, I think this is... He's so quiet you can't read him, so you don't really know what's going on. But in the same sense, this is a fucking shit go. If you're a Spurs fan, you got to be pissed at Kawhi. And I'm pissed because I really wanted to enjoy this series. You know, like Steph sitting out, that's fair enough. But, I mean, it does feel like he's kind of thrown his teammates under the fucking bus.
From a very long distance, because he's totally out. He's not even... Yeah, the guy... I'm sure he is mentally, not only physically, but mentally checked out of this team a long time ago. I think that this is news to no one, but the Spurs obviously had to make a press release and make it official. But I don't think anybody's shocked by this. I don't think anybody thought he was coming back. I just think it's shit that they have to talk about it during the playoffs because they're going to focus on trying to win a game, which they're not going to do.
I'm just glad Kawhi's going to be nice and fresh and injury-free for next year. But
Fuck.
He's going to be fresh and injury-free for someone, I tell you. It's I like Pop's post-game analysis, though.
No, I'm getting a little over it.
I was like, what are we going to, Danny Green, what are we going to do to get him, well, we're going to get him to grow 4 inches and get faster and better.
It's not that I, myself haven't laughed at it and joked at, enjoyed the banter he has.
Wayne, here's what pisses me off at these press conferences, right? And it's not Pop who pisses me off. Because every week I have to watch my football coach go on fucking TV to these fucking conferences and these moronic, pitiful fucking journos asking these questions. And I'm talking about the footy journos right now, but it's starting to get that way in the NBA. They talk to these coaches like they know more than the coach.
Vince?
And they don't.
I agree with that. I'm not saying there's not dumbass questions being asked. But I'm saying the blatant... Like, I want to hear his thoughts for going to the next series, the next game. I want to hear his adjustments that he makes. But he's not even... He doesn't have no intention of even answering that. He just wants to fluff around and, like, laugh it off as some big-ass joke. I mean, if you don't even want to be there, if you don't want to do the halftime fucking interviews... Send one of your assistant coaches.
No, but he can't do that because then
You fucking can do that.
The fucking journos
Fucking
complain.
can do that.
He's going to have them complain. He's done this for 20
He doesn't want to be.
years.
He
and
needs
I
to
don't blame the guy
Yeah,
for
no,
having enough
fuck
of it.
that.
It's bullshit.
Fuck
They
that.
shouldn't have to do it.
That's
No, they shouldn't have
absolute
to do it at all.
bullshit. That's bullshit, Vince. I mean, I could understand
don't
like the
have to-
one-off. I could understand that if he doesn't want to do that during the middle of the game. I mean, that's fine. But if you don't do that, you send one of your assistant coaches.
No,
There's people who want to hear. There's Spurs fans who want to hear what the fuck is going on with their team, what adjustments they want, and all they're getting is these like laughable fucking clips.
But he...
I get it. I get the whole
fucking truth.
Mate, look.
So what's the fucking point of it?
Okay, well, that's fair enough. But not
And
everyone's
they
asking
interview him-
stupid.
They interview him during the week at practice anyway. So if you
Not
want to know his
everyone-
thoughts after he's had a few days to think
Mate,
about the
fuck
fucking
that.
loss, because that's what they like to do. Is
But it's
dwell
not
on the
always
loss and tell
after the
coach
game, Vince.
what
It's
they
become
want
more
to
than that.
fucking do.
It's not always after the game, Vince. It's every
Mate,
interview now.
There is no need. There is no need for a press conference. All sports should just not do it.
Should just not do it.
Waste of fucking time.
Oh, give me a fucking spell. Give
All right,
me a
listen.
spell.
1, 2, 3, Warriors.
It's a joke. It really is. And you know what? Keep doing it, Pop, because
No.
it amuses me to no end, and these journos can piss off.
Fuck you. Hang it up, Pop. Fucking hang it up. You don't want to coach his team this year. You don't want fucking Kawhi back anyway. You don't want to answer any fucking questions. Don't. Go sit on a rock next to fucking...
You'd be a fucking good journo. You just
Go
make shit up.
fucking... Oh, mate. Give me a fucking spell. Give me a spell. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that
Stop using my
there's not
catchphrase,
dumb questions being asked, Vince, but it's bullshit. I can't even hear you.
Stop using my fucking catchphrase, because you keep fucking interrupting. Stop using my catchphrases, or the check better be in the mail.
No, slap yourself. Go slap yourself.
That's mine as well.
Go slap yourself. Yeah, I think it's a joke. I think it's gone
Yours is-
beyond what was
They'll throw
intentional.
Stones at rocks.
Whatever.
I'll tell you what, Wayne, you're a bit harder than the young guys.
So we shouldn't have any press conferences at all. We shouldn't have any. Should we just fucking wipe them all clean, shall we?
We shouldn't, mate.
fuck.
Do
Come on,
me a
man.
favour. Do me a favour.
Well, look, there's some of us out there who enjoy them. There's some of us out there who like the insight to it. If he doesn't want to do them all...
Oh, see, Benson, this is what I've had to put up with for years.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to ask him to do something, and he interrupts. What are you doing Anzac Day, Chief?
You don't even let me finish.
What are you doing Anzac Day?
I don't know.
Okay, here's what you do. Watch the fucking football between
Watch a fucking football.
magnificent Collingwood Magpies versus the
Fuck, I'm not
cheating
watching it.
Essendon
You know I'm
Bombers,
not watching
right?
that shit. You know I'm not watching
Okay, shut up for a moment. When you know the game's over, chuck it on Channel 7 and watch the press conference, all right? And then tell me that they aren't allowed.
I'm not talking about the fucking AFL,
They're a
Vince.
load of shit. It's a fucking press conference like the NBA coaches do. They get asked bullshit questions from journos who think they know more,
Right.
and they think they're bigger than the game,
Right.
and they think their opinion matters.
I'm not saying that's out. I'm not saying that's not out there, Vince. I'm just saying they're not all like that.
Don't think they are. They're all shit.
There are
All the
not.
coaches lie. All the coaches lie. Not all lollipops and gumdrops.
Right away.
Okay, so some people like them, some people don't.
Benson, don't be afraid, mate. It's good to have an argument.
No, I'm totally fine with it. I couldn't give a fuck about what Pop does or doesn't do. I just think that it's
It's not just about Pop, though. It's all these press conferences. They after the game, they're not needed.
Oh, my God.
I get it in the sense that, look, I don't think any coach is truly, if I think we're all being honest with each other, is truly going to give away a game plan or strategy. It's fine for them to analyse, but at the end of the day, if you're copying someone to either half the time of a game or the full time of a game that's just happened, without them watching tape and things like that, I think you are going to get generic kind of responses so that you've got something to write about. But that being said, look, if we're talking about this series and we're talking about the output, I think if we take it back to the question and back to the topic, these Spurs are going to have to play at fifth gear against a Warriors team that I don't think are even going to get out of second. It's not even going to be close, and I think that. I don't know. I think that for the first time in probably 4 seasons, that the Golden State Warriors are a sleeper to come out of the West, and that's really weird. But if they're doing this on cruise control and they've still got Steph to come off the bench and they've still got KD to work himself back from injury, and these guys are scarily good. Like if they're going to cruise, and then you've got the Rockets that are maybe going to struggle against the Wolves, the Warriors have got to, from a number 2 or number 3 position most of the season, they've got to be favourites.
To me, they're favourites. I think even though with a couple of injuries they've got, to me they don't look as I think, a little while back, Steve Kerr was trying to freshen them up a bit. I think it's worked.
You don't think they're trying a little bit too much to get like the lesser players involved? I thought they were guilty of trying to get guys who probably shouldn't be getting as many minutes as they are involved, like getting the McCaws involved and the Bells involved and these sorts of guys. I just think, you know what, I get it. It's good for a team that good to be able to play those guys further down the bench, but let's not be silly and think that they're going to be playing meaningful big minutes in the playoffs. And I don't know, it didn't look like they were going to today.
JaVale McGee played pretty awesome. I mean, especially that first half.
Yeah, you know you're struggling if he's dropping 15 on you.
Yeah,
but he's a guy that if you get involved, though, I mean, pick your mark and you're not going to run anything through him. But if you can get him involved, he can give you that every single game of the series. He really can. I mean that. That's not a one-off for him. He's been in this league long enough and knows what to do in that system. That he could potentially be a 12-point player every game of the series.
Yeah, he was quite good, man. He was quite good. I was pretty impressed with him that first game. But in saying that, we're still watching a super depleted San Antonio team, and it was like, man, this is the first game of the playoffs, and it just sucks. Like, it really just does suck. I know one thing, Vince. They'll just need to put the cape on their superstar LaMarcus Aldridge to win the series.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Did he drop 50 in that game?
How much did he get, Stu? How about
Give me a break. Are you serious?
Yeah, well, let's just have a look what he did there. Settle down, LaMarcus.
First round.
Settle down, LaMarcus. 14 points.
Oh,
Don't overdo it, mate.
Sorry.
They don't even make the playoffs if he sits this season. Come on.
We don't get to mock you often, so
At least,
take him full advantage.
At least he turned up. He's not complaining about a phantom.
He turned up. He fucking scored 14 points. He may as well have stayed home.
Give him a couple of games. He'll be over it pretty soon.
I don't blame him. He's had to carry the team and run around in those giant shorts all season.
This is what we said at the start of the year, though. We said this start of the year. We said it'd be great regular season, but come playoffs, James Harden here.
Mate, they're not even in the playoffs without him. Give him a break.
Pretty sure the Germanos will tell Pop what to do with him.
Yeah, he's had a very good year up till now.
Patty Mills need to pull his finger out. I mean, only 5 shots. Come on, Patty. Call your number a bit more, mate.
Yeah, get rid of the shit locks.
Yeah, not working for him.
I see Drew Holiday obviously listens to the show because he shaved his off. He shaved his off.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Jersey worthy.
Just for that.
Just for that alone, yeah.
Count down, come on.
1, 2, 3.
Spurs. Joking.
Warriors.
Spurs will lose.
Wow.
Get swept.
Warriors.
And of course, you can catch all the arguing at the website www.CRTSDE.podbean.com. Down there, you'll find links to the Facebook page, to our iTunes. We're also on Spotify. So head down. We want to hear your thoughts, guys. Australia's zaniest NBA show, the COURTSIDE Podcast. Gentlemen, it's been emotional.
And you're still a dickhead.
And you still have to slap yourself.
And I wanted to thank you for having me on, and it's a shame that this is my last podcast, but all the best.
Yep, I'll be resigning as well.
If this was me that lost the bet, you guys would be... I would never hear the end of this until I did it.
I can't help it if you wouldn't get a lawyer. I've got a lawyer. Got a good one.
You're lawyered up, huh?
So tune in next week to the Vincent Stuo Show.
Where we talk Lakers and then some more Lakers.
All right, boy.
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Ball